gosh, I love panels so much. You know, when COVID happened and a lot of things got shut down, even when conventions started coming back, excuse me, JR, what was that? When they came back, they didn't do panels. They just, I guess they were kind of, concerned about people in closed spaces, and I missed them so much because I love talking with you guys. It's one of my favorite things in the world. In fact, I'm not even much of a stage guy. I just come down and talk to you about anything you want to talk about. Ruby, you look good, kid. My sweet niece, who's not very fun. I don't see much Ruby anymore. That's a great cosplay. So be thinking of questions, everybody. I just love to talk with you guys about anything. It could be Star Trek, it could be anime, it could be Star Trek. Did I mention Star Trek? It could be life, it could be anything you want to talk about. For those of you that may be wondering, what are you doing now? Well, I've been doing a lot of audiobooks, which are fun because you get to play all the characters, which is kind of neat. And it started again when everything had shut down, and there were no studios open. I had a little recording set up in my house, throw on a robe, make a cup of coffee, right? Record a couple chapters. And it turned out to be a lot of fun. I just released a new record. Those of you that may or may not know that I write and produce music professionally. And I have 7 CDs now on iTunes and Apple Music and stuff. And the newest one I'm very proud of. Let's see, and then events. I'm so excited to be here. You have no idea. I have the greatest appreciation for Hall of Heroes and their staff and giving me the opportunity to come join you guys. So thank you for being here. I am honored to be here with you guys. And who's got a first question? That did not take long at all. Yes, sir.
Which Broly did you play in Dragon Ball Z?
I played both Brolys. See, this is something, I'm sure glad you asked that question. Yeah, girls. Because I played the original, right, OG Broly, for 20 years. And then I also played Broly for the Dragon Ball Broly movie in 2019. That guy, yes. And I noticed something the other day. I was just telling somebody this at the table earlier. Anytime somebody ever asks me to write a quote, a Broly quote, and then they bring this guy. Can I see that? This is the new Broly, right? This is Super Broly. Tell by the purple pants. But what I thought was funny was all of the best quotes are from the OG Broly. Like when the new Broly fights, he doesn't even talk. He just fights. But the OG Broly, he talks smack the whole time he's fighting, right? He's calling them names. I'm gonna bathe in your blood. And all that kind of stuff, right? And so, anytime somebody brings a new Broly and they ask for a quote, I'm like, do you want a quote from this guy? Because he really didn't say much. At least not the mean, serious stuff like the original Broly did. But the short answer is, I played both. Gunner! Did you see Gunner? Gunner's my new favorite cosplayer right here. And these guys in the back, did you see this? Brother! And, Natalie, you make me look tall. Just a little bit tall. I told Gunner he better hurry up and cosplay as that before he gets any older. Oh my gosh, I love it. And this is a dad and daughter, by the way. Is that cool or what? I can't even tell you how much I love that. Because I told them, when I was a little boy, it was all about Star Trek. I ate, slept, and breathed that show. I would lock myself in my room and I'd build models of the Enterprise, I'd make costumes, I'd make phasers out of duct tape and whatever. I was obsessed with that show. And my mother, I drove her insane. Some of you even know what I'm talking about. You probably had a great passion for something and your parents were like, oh my gosh, if I need to hear Dragon Ball Z one more time, or fill in the blank, right, whatever it is. Well, for me, it was Star Trek. And my mother, I'm not even kidding. Do you know what she used to call it? Star Trash. Only because she knew it would make me so crazy, because I loved it so much, right? I told him that the very first conventions, here's a little trivia for you. Every Comic-Con you ever go to, every convention you have ever or will ever go to or has ever existed owes their existence to Star Trek. Did you know that? The very first conventions ever on the planet Earth were fans of Star Trek who rented a ballroom at a hotel and invited some of the actors from the show to come, and that's how Comic-Cons began. Is that amazing? So, I would go to Star Trek conventions, and I was gunner's age. And my mom, she would drop me off at the curb. It's like, I'll be back at 6 p.m. She wouldn't even go in. So this, I love this. I told them, and this is a little word for any of you guys that are parents or will be parents. When you invest in something that your children love, you'll have a friend for life. You'll be dad or mom for a certain amount of time, right? But then when they become adults, you'll still be great friends because you cared about something that they cared about when they were young. So, kudos to you, buddy. Give him another round of applause. He's like, I should have chosen a cooler costume. I'm sweating to death in here. Question. Yes, my dear.
If you could be any character in any anime, what would you be?
See, okay. I've been asked that question before, and I used to answer it. And then I started thinking one day, what if the actor who did play that character thinks that I'm somehow dissing them? You know what I mean? What if they think that I'm somehow downplaying their performance? Oh, I wish I could have played so-and-so. And then the guy that actually played so-and-so, right? That stupid Vic Mignogna, he said he should have played my character. No, that's not what I said. But I got really concerned that I might offend another voice actor. So I stopped answering that question. But I will tell you this. When I was a little boy, I loved Speed Racer. Now the thing is, I didn't know it was anime. You're like, what's wrong with you? How did you not know? I just knew it was different, right? I knew it didn't look like Scooby-Doo. It didn't sound like Roadrunner and, Justice League. I didn't know why, though. I just knew it was cool. In fact, I'm old enough to remember some shows. A lot of you may not even remember. Kimba, the White Lion. Like Battle of the Planets, Star Blazers, some of these really old classic anime. I loved them, and I just didn't even know they were anime. So, if I could be a part of Speed Racer, or back then, see, this is how I'm saving this one, because it was a long time ago. If I could have been a part of that, that would have been really cool. In fact, can I tell you a Speed Racer story? Okay. So many years ago, several anime dubbing studios got together and they decided to create the first ever annual American Anime Awards. It was meant to be like an anime answer to like the Oscars or the Tonys or the Emmys or whatever. And it just happened to be around 2000, I think maybe 2008, and I was nominated for Best Actor from Fullmetal Alchemist. But also for Macross. Does anybody remember Macross? I played the lead in Macross too, and so I was nominated for those two roles. And the top 5 finalists, we all went to New York City. Like, they pulled out all the stops for this, y'all. They rented this amazing theater, televised it, and we were all there, you know, big black tie gala event, right? For the anime industry, you know, first annual awards. So I sit down in the theater, and I'm sitting, you know, just looking at the people. I didn't have anybody with me. I'm looking, talking to people beside me. Hey, how you doing? You know, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. Hey, what's going on? How are you? So there's this guy sitting here, this older guy. There are thousands of people that work in this industry, right? So, how you doing? You know, we were chatting, chit-chatting, just killing time, and then, right, lights go down, the show starts. And they start going through the categories. Best supporting actress in a, yeah, whatever, and they would read the nominations, and then they would, the winner, and they would go up on stage and get their award. And then they got to the category of Lifetime Achievement Award. And they whoever was the MC, proceeded to say, this voice actor has voiced hundreds and hundreds of characters, but he is best known as Speed Racer. Remember what I told you about when I was a little boy? I'm like, oh my gosh, Speed Racer's here? I like turned 12 again, right? Please welcome to the stage, Peter Verda, and the guy beside me gets up and walks up there. I'm like, so he takes his award, he has a wonderful little speech, right? And he comes and sits back down. And of course my entire demeanor is different now, but and he's showing me his award. And I'm thinking, this is surreal, right? I mean, I'm sitting here beside Speed Racer. And then a few minutes later, they got to the Best Actor category, and I won. And I took my award back to my chair and sat there with Speed Racer, sharing each other, showing each other our award. I don't think it gets more surreal than that. I consider myself so deeply blessed. I can't even begin. You know, if another thing never happened good in my life, you know what I mean, I have been blessed beyond anything I ever deserved. And the opportunities to be a part of a lot of great series and video games, and equally as precious to me is getting to meet you. You know, when you record anime, or when you voice act in general, you're in a room, alone. And if you say something funny, nobody's laughing. And if you deliver a heart-wrenching speech in tears and frustration and anger, there's nobody sitting there being moved by that. So you never know how what you're going to do is going to come across until it's too late. It's finished and pressed and released. Ooh. Welcome, commoners. My 2 favorite poor people just arrived. Long live the poor. Sorry, I love that show so much. So I just consider myself so incredibly blessed, and I love panels because I love, and events because I love getting the chance to meet you and talk with you and interact with you. Question, who's got a question? Yes, sir.
I got a couple. One of them is, of all the lines you've had, which ones were your favorite trash talking lines?
Favorite trash talking lines? Well, those are mostly always Broly, right? Broly's like the king of trash talking lines. What? Tamaki has a trash talking line? What would it be? Is that really trash talking? Well, maybe he didn't think the twins were that cool. They gave him no small amount of a hard time, right? They gave him a hard time. I love in Full Metal. I thought Broly is an obvious choice, but so I'm just gonna go Full Metal. In the original Full Metal Alchemist series, one of my favorite moments was the episode where Ed and Roy did the mock battle. It was like in that little stadium, and it was kind of a pretend battle, right? And Ed and Al are standing off to the side, getting ready to start. And Ed goes, "This is a great day, Al. The day that I get to punch Mustang in the face and get some damn respect." And Alphonse goes, "What's your strategy, brother?" And I go, "I told you! A fist in his face!" I love that. I love Ed. I just love Ed. Love him to death. Question. Yes, sir. You're next, Gunner. Get ready, buddy. Phil Dunley, you hear me?
I've listened to a bunch of voice actors over the years talk about how there's certain voices that they have a hard time doing anymore. Like Frank Welker has a hard time still maybe trying to sound rap. Is there any voices that you have done over the years that you realize is more of a strain than to do now than it was when you were younger? Or
I haven't noticed any. I will tell you this though, I used to be able to sing a lot higher than I can now. All that yelling catches up with you. It really does. All the screaming and yelling. But I don't think so. Do I sound the same? Yeah. Do I sound like Edward Elric? Do I sound like Tamaki? Do I sound like Broly? Captain Out. So far, so good. I'm sure that time is coming though. But you just reminded me of something very interesting. Whenever anyone asks me about getting into voice acting, one of the things I always encourage them is never audition with a voice that you can't do for 6 hours straight. Sound advice, right? You get an audition for like a demon, right? And your mind's like, oh, I'm gonna knock this demon role out of the park. And you just dig deep, and you get the role. And then you go in and you have to record for 6 hours doing that voice. And you're like, please kill me. Because it's a lot harder to actually do it for an extended period of time. So, note to self, don't audition with a voice you can't maintain for very long. G-Dog, what's your question?
What is your favorite character to play as?
You know, for a long time, I always hesitated, just like this question. I always hesitated to answer that question because I love the craft. I love the opportunity to play any kind of character. I always have, no matter how big or small. It's fun. And I used to try to avoid, you know what I used to do, Gunnar? If somebody asked me that question, I would scan their clothing or their earrings or their belt or their backpack real quick, and I would think, oh, look, ooh, they're wearing that jacket. And I would say, oh, Ouran High School is my favorite. Or they would be wearing a Dragon Ball shirt or something, and I would kind of play off what I thought they liked. Ruby, right? But then something happened. I recorded the final episode of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And I remember like it was yesterday. I went in to record, and this was even before we turned all the scripts to digital, like on screen. We had physical scripts in a loose leaf binder. And whoever was directing that day said, okay, turn to page such and such. And I'm turning, and I'm suddenly realizing I'm on the last page. And I started getting really upset. I mean, moved, upset, emotional. Because I realized it was over. I loved that show so much, and so after I recorded that last monologue of Ed, as he was getting off the train and saying goodbye to Winry, remember that part? And I even put my phone on the windowsill of the glass window and recorded it, so I could just kind of have a keepsake for myself of the last line I recorded from Fullmetal. And so after that point, I had to kind of just acknowledge that that Ed was the favorite thing that I've ever done. And there have been a lot of great characters, great shows, but nothing ever really moved me the same way as that show did. Question? Yes?
So, in a battle of wits between Ed and Tamaki of comebacks, who would come out the winner?
In a battle of wits with comebacks?
Yeah, if they were to like.
Oh, I think Ed would definitely win that. Tamaki would shrivel up and start crying in the corner and build a hamster home. Yeah, exactly. That small child's being mean to me. And of course, Ed would lose it when he said that. You call it small. Question? Yes, my dear. Oh, let's say that. Let's definitely say that Ouran High School had another season. I would kill anyone, not you. But anyone else. I would give anything to be a part of that show again. Ouran was one of the only shows, and for those of you that don't know that show, check it out, because it's funny and heartwarming. It's a great, great series. A lot of guys look at that show, and they look at these jackets, and they see the roses, and like, oh my, right? Girl show, right? Not watching that, not my thing, until they watch it. And then they realize what it really is, and it's just so funny and endearing. Every year, somebody starts a rumor that there's going to be another season. And the manga continued. If you're a fan of that show, you know that the manga continued. But they just made the one season. And man, if I had a lot of money, I would make it myself. I would hire a studio. I would get a story written that continued the manga and get it animated. Pay anybody whatever they needed to play their roles, again. And I would love to be a part of it again. If that ever happened, it would be really sad not to be able to do it. Yes, sir. Question?
I have to ask you, of all the things that you've done, what's the thing you wish you could take in your life?
What a great question. Of all the things I've done, what do I wish I could take my name off of? Okay, I actually have an answer to this. And the worst part about this is the internet. Because it's all out there, right? I mean, good and bad. It's just, if anyone ever said one thing, right? Like, I did a show early on in my anime voice acting. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even know what the shows were at the time. Like, you guys may not know this, but it's not like they give us the whole series and say, here, watch this, so you know everything about every character, and then you'll play this guy. No. You walk in and they go, here, you're this guy, go. You don't know the story, you don't know the characters, you don't know much. And I was just naive. I thought, oh, I'm just voice acting, this is fun. I'm acting, like this animated character. And so, I did this one role, and I didn't think anything about it. And then, after I was done, and I didn't know what was going on in the rest of the show, but after I was done, I came out of the booth, and the director, Steven, I'll never forget it, at ADV Films in Houston years ago, which was where I started, Steven said, I'm not going to tell you much about this show, but you probably are going to regret being a part of it. He was just that kind of a guy, like real kind of funny, snarky kind of a guy. And he said, you might want to use a fake name. Oh, really? said, what fake name do you want to use? And I'm like, I don't care. You make one up. Bad idea. Worst idea I ever had. Because he was, like I said, he was kind of a snarky guy. So when the DVD came out with the role that I had played in this few episodes, I was curious what my fake name he made up for me was. And then I saw it. It said, Obi Frost Tips. Obi as in Obi-Wan, because he knew I was a Star Wars fan. And Frost Tips, because Frost Tips. What's funny though is, people still come up to conventions and say, oh, would you sign this Obi Frost Tips? See, it's all out there. You can't escape it. Question? Yes, sir. Wait, you asked one. I'll get back to you. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to let you know your performance as James T. Kirk was amazing. Can you tell me a little bit about the genesis of Star Trek Continues?
Absolutely. Thank you. And I want to apologize to everyone else now, because now you're talking my nerd language, right? Star Trek is my thing. For those of you that don't know, when was it? 2013, I think. Our first episode. My parents divorced when I was about 9, and my mom and I moved into an apartment. We didn't have any furniture, but we did have a 19-inch black and white television. And it would sit on the floor in the living room because we didn't have a table to put it on. And I would come home every day after school, and I would lay in front of that 19-inch black and white TV, and I would look for something to watch. 3:30, 4, by the time you get home from grade school. And one day, I stumbled across Star Trek, the original Star Trek, and I just fell in love with it. There was something about it that resonated with me, and in particular, not having a dad around, Captain Kirk kind of became a father figure, kind of a role model, What a hero, what a cool guy, He runs this ship and he goes on these adventures with his friends, and they have these loyal relationships with each other and look out for each other. And so fast forward, around 2010 or 2011, I just wanted to make an episode where I could play my childhood hero. So I rented a building in South Georgia, and me and tons of volunteers rebuilt the entire soundstage from the original series of Star Trek. I mean, as in walk through it like you're on the ship. My buddy Dan will tell you, he's been there. It's like stepping into a dream. Like, you're in it. It's not like, you see a lot of movie sets and TV sets, and the living room set's over in stage 12, and then the dining room is over here, then you gotta walk around this corner, through that curtain, and that's the kitchen. You know what I mean? They're kind of spread out. Now, Star Trek, all of those sets were connected to the corridor, so when you stepped in it, you were in it. You're like you were on the ship. We made 11 full-length episodes that we have nearly, I believe now, 20 million viewers. And it is one of my most proud accomplishments. I got to play my childhood hero, which was also a little scary, right? Because you have an image in your mind of what you might do in a certain situation, how you would do a certain thing, but you always know, I'll never get to do that. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be cool to fly a, F-16? Yeah, you're not gonna ever get the chance, right? In the back of your mind, your common sense is like, dude, you're never gonna get to fly an F-16. So just have fun fantasizing about it, because you're never gonna get to do it. And since I was a little boy, wouldn't it be cool to play Captain Kirk, to be on the bridge of the Enterprise and have adventures with Spock and McCoy and Scotty? Suddenly, I'm standing in the turbo lift in a perfect uniform, waiting for those doors to open and then to call action, and I walk out and try to play this my hero role, my favorite character role. It was scary. It was daunting. Because I love Bill Shatner. I would never want to do anything to be some kind of a satire or make some kind of a parody of him or his character. I took it very seriously. And you can see it all. Here's the best part, ready? It's free. Some of you are like, okay, he's trying to get you to subscribe to something here. I know it. There's money involved here somewhere. No, it's all free. This is the biggest labor of love, passion project you will ever see. And I want you to go check it out. Please, StarTrekContinues.com. That's all you need to know. And there are all 11 episodes there, a lot of fun behind the scenes, making of, blooper reels, interviews with different cast members. You'll even recognize a lot of well-known people from television shows and movies from the past, and several voice actors. If you know voice actors, you know my buddy Todd Haberkorn. Well, Todd plays Mr. Spock, and he does an amazing job. And Chuck Huber, another voice actor you may know, played Dr. McCoy. So check it out, okay? StarTrekContinues.com. Question? Yes, my dear.
Can you tell me like your experience and like your feelings about that?
Yes. Oh my gosh, JoJo was so funny.
My favorite.
For what you mean?
Brianna.
Brianna, for years I would do conventions and I would see people walking around cosplaying from JoJo. Now, at first I didn't know it was JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but if you've seen it, you know that it has a very specific animation style. It's very distinct. And so in the back of my mind, anytime I'd see a cosplayer with that look, I'm like, ooh, that's JoJo. Well, I wasn't in JoJo. I just thought the design looked really cool. And then at some point years ago, Bang Zoom Entertainment in LA. I had done several shows with them, Vampire Night, several others, and they said, hey, we've got this season of this show we'd like you to come and audition for. And I went into audition, and the moment the first image came up on screen, I'm like, oh, this is JoJo. I was so excited. And when I got to play Rohan, man, he was so much fun. He's so psychotic, in the best way. But in fact, JoJo was the last thing I recorded before COVID. I had gone out I just moved to Texas, back to Texas, and I flew out to LA to record a few episodes of Diamonds Are Unbreakable. Isn't that the season? And things were already starting to shut down. Like it was that close to, we're not doing this right now for a while. Now, so that was the last thing that I got to record before COVID. Question? Yes, my dear.
If you could be in an abstract Scooby-Doo, what would you like your mystery to be about?
Okay, I've never had that question before. Now I gotta think about that one. I love Scooby-Doo. Love Scooby-Doo. Not so much Scrappy-Doo. He was annoying. And Scooby-Doo, leave a good thing alone, guys. You know? But, wow, what a great question. Do you have one? Do you have an answer for that?
No.
Exactly, that's a big question. What would I like the mystery to be about? Okay, I got it. Someone broke in to the television studio where they were shooting Star Trek. I told you, everything comes back to Star Trek. And stole the captain's chair. And they couldn't shoot any more Star Trek until they got the captain's chair back. And they called Freddie and Velma and Daphne and Shaggy and Scooby to come help them find who it was, and you know who it ended up being? Scotty. Scotty stole it because he wasn't the captain. Okay, that was lame. Question. Somebody save me, please. Yes.
Okay, so this is really weird. I've had so many, like my brother, my best friends, and other coworkers. I've had tons of recommendations for Fullmetal Alchemist. My friend finally loaned it to me. I could only make it in a couple of episodes, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is not a kid's show. This is heavy. Okay, so I haven't made it through even the first season yet. What is your advice to me? How do I keep going? Like, how do I?
Well, first, I will give you some money. I will pay you to keep watching. You know what? I had the same reaction when we started the show, and I'm talking about the first Fullmetal Alchemist, right? Even before Brotherhood. And the first episode, you guys, a lot of you seen the original Fullmetal Alchemist, right? The first episode, they're out in the desert, right? And Al's full of sand, and it's all so funny. And then they go to Lior, and they meet Father Cornello, the fake priest, who's controlling everybody in the town with fake alchemy, right? And it was Rose, and she believed that Father Cornello had the power to bring back her fiance, and then of course Ed does what Ed does and exposes the big, shenanigans of this fake priest, and I thought this is really great. This is a great show. And then the episode came with Nina. I was like, oh my God. And that final moment of that episode where Ed was literally sobbing on the street when they found, right? When they found that, and it was raining, I'll never forget it, and he was down on his knees crying. And I remember thinking, dang, this is a serious show. Like, it just took a really serious turn. I totally get where you're coming from. All I can say is, it's a wild ride, and you don't want to miss it. If you don't climb the hill of a tough episode, you'll never have the exhilaration of the ride downhill, right? It's part of the story, and it's one of the things that makes that show so special. It's got some of everything. Like 1 minute you're crying, and the next minute you're laughing out loud. It's brilliant. That's not very easy to do, right? Many things are they're just funny. They're a comedy or they're a tragedy. Either they're a romance or they're horror. I mean, they're one thing. And that's something that I've always admired about anime, is they have the power to, that quick, change your emotions, that quick. They turn from, oh my gosh, to, it's amazing. So please stay with me. I will tell you that every time I've ever seen a list of the top 10 anime of all time, Fullmetal Alchemist is on that list. And it's there for a reason. So please stay with it. Personally, several of you even this weekend have asked me, which one do you like better? Well, I know most people love Brotherhood best. Totally fine. I love Brotherhood. However, I have a very special place in my heart for the first one. Because that's where I met Ed. That's where I met Winry. That's where we forged these relationships, right? And everything about that show just, got me. So I loved that Brotherhood came along and we got to do more of it, but it's kind of like your first love, right? Think back to like high school or something, right? There's this guy or this girl, and felt this love, and you loved him to death. And you went on to college, and you met other people, and you probably even maybe had another boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe you got married. But you never forgot that first love. And that's how I feel about the original Fullmetal. Question? Yes?
Sorry. We do have to wrap it up, so if you...
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. We got Jim Starling coming in next.
Oh, okay. You want to take away?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to do one more question, I have one, but maybe if you want to go with somebody else.
Well, no, go ahead. Let's hear it. Let's have yours.
I mean, you did so many things on Star Trek Continues. So many. Like, you wore all of the hats, right? One of which is musical. And I don't know if a lot of people know that you're a very musically inclined person. And I mean, do you play a lot of instruments?
Well, I play keyboard. I play piano and keyboards. But if you know anything about today's technology, you can buy sample packs of just about any instrument you can think of that you can load into a digital audio program and play it off of a keyboard. Now, caveat. You need to know how that instrument plays, right? You don't play a violin the way you play a piano. You don't play a saxophone the way you play a piano. You have to know how the instrument would play. What range does an instrument play, right? If a trumpet only goes to B flat, don't go above B flat, because now you're giving away that it's not really a real trumpet. That kind of thing. Or if you're laying down drums. This is, I know, I'm sorry, I just have to share this, I'm so sorry, Mr. Starling, sorry. But if you're like recording fake drums, right? And you're hitting a kick drum is on this key, and snare is on this key, and hi-hat, and here's a closed hi-hat, and open, right? The biggest dead giveaway that they're fake drums is the grooves going along, right? And then suddenly there's a boom, 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 a tom fill, right? And the hi-hat doesn't stop during the tom fill. See the problem? A real drummer's only got two hands. He can't be doing all that at the same time. Little note for you guys programming drums. Let me just end by saying thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was always grateful for the opportunity to be a part of this industry and the people that I got to meet. But these days, I'm even more grateful and thankful. And I love to tell you all that so many of you have come up to me over the years and said, this character you played just meant the world to me. Or this show that you did really helped me through a difficult time. Or this show helped me reconnect with my brother or my sister. Well, I want you to know that your kindness and your support toward me and my work, you have meant as much to me as you ever told me that my work meant to you. And I will be forever grateful. Anytime I'm around this area, please come and see me. And I'm going to head back to my table now. I know that I've gotten to meet a lot of you, but please come by and say hello. I'd love to sign something for you. I'd love to talk to you a little bit. And right after you get to meet me, make sure you get some pictures with those awesome Natalie and her dad. And Gunnar here too, because he's awesome. And I thank you again for coming and hanging out for an hour. I love you guys. God bless you. Hope to see you. Hope to see you soon.